Hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us for this live demo. We really do appreciate the opportunity to show you how we help enterprises earn, keep, and grow customers by enabling that human-to-human collaboration in digital spaces. I'm just going to run through a few quick slides to set some context before I pass it off to Chris for the demonstration. And so Glance Guided CX transforms these digital journeys from these do-it-yourself journeys into do-it-together, right inside your mobile apps, your portals, and your websites to provide that genuine human guidance at that exact right time to help customers achieve their goals and build trust with your organization. Our customers create this wow-worthy branded experiences where end customers really don't realize they're using Glance. It helps you move that interaction forward without friction, keeping all the participants in the communication channels, workflows, and journeys they're already in. And it does enable you to connect people right at that moment of need without disrupting that flow of collaboration. Glance is an impactful CX innovation that's easy for everyone and it works everywhere. Representatives join customers for human-guided collaborations from any CRM, CCaaS, or custom desktop system. Today, Chris is actually going to show this out of Five9. Customers can use any browser or device and they don't need to exchange a session key. And enterprises can create that consistent customer experience across any channel, different business units, different departments, or even third-party strategic partners, just like Intuit does with their CPA network. Glance really is easy to deploy, adopt, and use, and it is proven for enterprise-grade security and scale. And it's not just one narrow point tool. Your experts will have a suite of visual collaboration capabilities right at their fingertips from inside whichever workspace they use every day. And you'll see these capabilities also during the demo. And then, as I mentioned, Chris will be working at a Five9 and will show you some of these capabilities when working with that platform. So without further ado, Chris, let me change the presenter over to you and I will pass it over.
Thank you very much, Heather. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off so it doesn't interfere with the demo.
And I will as well. I think you've got it.
Fantastic. And hopefully you're seeing my desktop at this point.
We are, yep.
Fantastic. All right, as Heather mentioned, we're going to actually be highlighting our integration into the Five9's platform today and show some of the breadth that the platform can actually bring inside of Five9's. We actually have a broad range of integrations, as Heather had mentioned before, and this is actually a very, very capable integration that we have built in here. Okay, so we have on the left-hand side the Five9 Agent Desktop. That's called Agent Desktop Plus, which is the web-based version. And on the right-hand side, we actually have the Global Financial Services website, which is going to be the banking website that we're going to use for demo purposes today. And the scenario is we have Marshall Erickson, who is going to wants to open a credit card with Global Financial Services, and calls into the Five9 contact center and will be answered by the associate here. And then we will progress through showing some of those capabilities of our integration. With that, I'm going to start a phone call and you're going to hear an IVR engage. This is on Five9 as well. It'll ask for the PIN. We're going to put in Marshall's PIN and then we're going to actually choose menu option 1, which is the checking, because it doesn't have any business logic. We actually have the ability to use the Five9 routing capability to drive business outcomes of when you want to actually start a collaboration session and doing it automatically with our intelligent connection technology so that the associate doesn't have to worry about that. And we'll demonstrate that as well. But for this first one, we're simply going to place the call in and get that answered into the Five9's environment. And with that, let's place the call.
Welcome to Global Financial Services. Please enter your PIN. Welcome.
Marshall Erickson.
Press 1 for checking, Press 2 for credit card. Thank you. We are transferring you to a checking associate.
And the call comes into the desktop. And we will mute the call. And you can see the glance integration right here at the associate's fingertips. So they don't have to go looking for the glance controls to start the session. And we have two different levels of collaboration that we can start. We can actually start with a mobile camera share, which is this button right here, which we're not going to demonstrate today in the essence of time, but that allows you to actually share the mobile camera of the customer and being able to do things like identity verification or hardware troubleshooting with that integration into the mobile camera share capability of Glance. We can also start a web-based or mobile collaboration. We have the same capabilities to start collaboration sessions on either a desktop or a mobile on a browser. For example, this is in Chrome, but this could be any of the major browsers, and this could be a PC or a Mac. It could also be an iOS or Android mobile phone. We also support the same type of collaboration on a mobile application, also on Android or iOS. So really trying to strive to create this ubiquity of connection. You can start the session in a more traditional way by simply embedding a button on the web page. You'll notice everything has the look and feel of the customer's website. That's all heavily customizable, and you can give a 4-digit code. But we actually have integrated into Five9 contact records, and we're going to end this section, and we're going to log in as Marshall Erickson. We'll do that right now, and you're going to see a new button appear, and that is an orange join button. We actually have presence service that synchronizes data from the website and data from the Five9's interaction back into Glance, and allows the system to know that Marshall Erickson that we have on this Five9 call and Marshall Erickson that just logged into the Global Financial website are one and the same person. In fact, you'll notice that if we move off of the website to a different website, that button will disappear. And as soon as we go back to Global Financial Services appears. So it's both logged in and on the website. That is a security element and makes it to where now we can actually push the interaction to the customer with one click. So we click join, and now you can see it has presented the customer with an acceptance to start the collaboration session. Everything we do in Glance, we're always going to ask before we take any action, and everything again is the look and feel of the customer website, including the terms and conditions. We say accept, and just like that, we have started a collaboration session, and now we're seeing exactly what that customer is seeing on their browser, and doing it as seamlessly and painless as possible. All over the top, there's nothing to download. It uses standard ports, so it really doesn't get in the way of either the associate or the customer in resolving their problems. Everything's very dynamic. As the customer resizes or moves or what have you, it will match those. You can also see you have full gesturing, so the customer's mouse is replicated on the associate screen, and reciprocally, if I go over to the associate screen, that is replicated on the customer screen. I can also do gesturing by click and dragging around areas, and you'll see both a color and a name. That will be important in just a little bit as we move through the demo, but I can also click on specific objects, and for this one, he's wanting to do a credit card. So the associate asks him to click on the credit card and then click on the apply now, which Marshall does. And that brings up the form to fill in for the credit card. So as Marshall scrolls, it matches all of that. And the very first thing that happens is he pulls down the pull down, looking at the different card types, and asks about what's the difference in those. Associate simply says, just click on the compare cards PDF, which he does, and you'll notice in session we can actually exchange documents. This is done seamlessly without any effort on either party, and creates a very smooth transition of customer service. You can also do full gesturing on the document. Here we're highlighting the most elite card that Global Financial Services offers and doing an upsell to Marshall for that. This can be very, very successful in creating a really strong customer engagement and being able to guide them into, again, not only conversion rate, but upsell, cross-sell elements. We actually can also download that PDF at any point in time in the session very seamlessly. They've seen all of the information they need. They have decided on the global rewards card and start filling out the remainder of the form. I'm just going to put some random data in the essence of time in here. You can see as it gets updated, that goes through the and is replicated on the associate side, so they know exactly what's going on. But notice when we get down here to the Social Security number, as I enter information in there, it is masked. Very, very easy to mask inside of Glance. It allows you to protect any of that important data that you do not want that associate to be able to see. Not only is it masked for the associate, but it's masked from Glance as well. In fact, it is masked at the customer's browser, so we actually never see any of that information, and why we are very prevalent in large financial institutions is that degree of capability of flexibility and control. If you need to create a higher level of enhancement, you can also add video at any point into the interaction. So I can actually turn on the video camera. We say yes, and now we have video with both the associate and the customer. You can also do things like background blurring and background replacement. We put those on by default. Those are highly customizable. Again, everything inside of Glance is also role-based. So if you do not want an associate being able to have that capability, all of these can be turned on and off with roles, and they will not even see the icon for any capability that they do not have a role to actually facilitate. You can even have some of these automatic, like video can actually start immediately when a session begins if you want to have every session with video. So again, a great degree of flexibility, and all of that can be controlled through the roles as well. We can also escalate this into a remote assist simply by clicking right here. I can actually take control of the customer's browser to help fill out the form. It always asks before, again, taking any action. And you'll notice that yellow border that was there before to highlight that we were in a collaboration session has now changed to red to make them aware that now we're in going to be able to collaborate. So let's go ahead and now we can fill out the rest of the form for the customer, and we go through and fill that out. Again, very easy and flexible to do that. You can actually turn it back off simply by clicking, and now you're back into a regular collaboration session. We can also exchange other types of documents. So not only the documents that are embedded onto the web page, which we demonstrated, but I can actually do a document off of my machine or a document library. I can have predefined documents, and I can even prompt the visitor to share a document. Perhaps we want to make sure they have enough in their checking to actually facilitate applying for this credit card. We send a request. Again, it asks before we take any action. And now we're going to go over here, and we're going to go to Marshall Erickson, and they're going to drag this particular document. This is a statement. They look over it, say, yes, that is the one I want to share with the associate. And just like that, they're actually sharing that content in the moment. Again, they don't have to send any separate links or anything like that to do any of these primary functions. And you can have full gesturing. For example, we can gesture, yes, we've got enough balance in there and you do qualify to get this credit card. They actually close that out. Notice there's a little red dot above the document share. That becomes very important because we also can turn on features to make that available to the associate to download and utilize in any of the platforms that they wish. So if they have a document repository or a CRM system, those can be stored in there at any point in time. Others are also disappear. We do not store any of those. Those are in the moment, and all of that is transient. So you don't have to worry about securing or storing those particular elements within Glance. Okay. You can also create scenarios where, let's say I need to actually compare some information off of a separate web page. Again, around security, if a customer goes to a different web page, we're only allowing for ones that are tagged to be viewable by the associate. This is a third-party website, so it literally tells the associate that the customer has moved off of the Global Financial Services web page. We can instruct them to move back there, and if they want to share that content, we can actually share our own screen with that. We can have pre-approved websites that we can actually share in one click with the customer, or we can actually send a request for the visitor or the customer to actually share their screen, and that is what we're going to do. So we again ask them we want to do that, and just like that, there is the website we want to share. They say share, and just like that, we're actually looking at third-party content and able to talk that customer through looking through these competing cards and giving upsell, cross-sell, and trying to get this converted into a transaction. They've answered all the customer's questions. The customer stops sharing, moves back to the page, and now they're in their collaboration session again. And as a final element, Marshall would also like to have his spouse, Sue, join the session and be able to make sure everything is good with that form. I'm going to actually start a new tab here. And you'll notice that when we click on this add guest, it actually asks for them to allow to add a guest to the session. They say yes. And then we can send this link to that particular person, which we have done here, and they bring that up. They simply type in their name and say continue. And now we can actually add them to the interaction. Okay. So now we're actually in an interaction, and we can even add video if we wish to that. So we're going to say continue. And now when we look at the video, now we have the associate, we have Sue, and we have Marshall all in this session at one time. Okay. You can have up to 10 users joining a glance session at one time. And now as I'm going to resize Marshall here just a little bit so that you can see that as they scroll, it actually matches up with that. And now you can also see that we can actually do gesturing. There's Sue, and then here is the associate, and you'll notice they are in different colors, and so they stand out from one another. And that allows you to be very sure who is actually pointing out information. And let's say Sue says, hey, Marshall, I thought that you had a raise last month, and that is no longer accurate. And he says, yes, that's true. He updates it, and just like that, it actually updates on all of their desktops at the same time, and they can walk through the application and making sure that's accurate. You can even do the document sharing and screen sharing to all the parties if you wish. For example, Sue has a question about mobile banking. So we go and we see that our mobile banking is part of our approved documents that are sitting there ready to be shared. The associate brings up the mobile banking, and just like that, they're all sharing that, and all with gesturing. So you can actually share either screen share or documents with all the parties. And again, any document that is shared, the main customer can download that in session without having to send a separate link. Sue has seen all of the forms and the information she needs. She's good with the interaction, and she hops out of the interaction. And with that, they close out the doc share, and then they go ahead and submit the application. And just like that, the associate has walked the customer through the entire interaction in a ad hoc manner, providing all the tools necessary to resolve that customer's problems. So it makes it a very, very dynamic experience. We can also do that same thing, and let's go ahead and set the disposition and close this case out. You can also do those same levels of controls within a chat session. Let's go ahead and start a Five9's chat. And I'll type anything in here just in the essence of time. And you'll notice that, again, pops up. And because we are already logged into the website, it already has the join button. So all of that integration is completely configured between the two for looking at that contact and being able to match all of that up. So I'm going to click join, and then we can create that connectivity right over onto the website, even through a chat session. You also then can, and I won't go through all of that in the essence of time again, you also can use the routing to actually create auto joins to sessions. So I'm going to sign out of here and sign back in as Marshall Erickson. So let's call back in, and we're going to choose menu option 2, which will give me credit card, and there's business logic in the Five9 script that if in fact it is a platinum customer, which Marshall is, and they're logged into the website, to auto start a collaboration session without the associate having to ask for that to occur. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that quickly.
Welcome to Global Financial Services. Please enter your PIN. Welcome.
Marshall Erickson.
Press 1 for checking. Press 2 for credit card. Thank you for being a platinum customer. When you are connected to an associate, you will be prompted to join a collaboration session if you are logged into our website. Thank you. We are transferring you to a credit card associate.
And notice the IVR had already let the customer know what to do, so the associate didn't have to do any of that. So it really creates a very repeatable process in using business rules that the business has determined is the right outcome to create collaboration. And notice, as soon as it lands on that associate's desktop, the associate did no action, and it already started a collaboration session. And we've already also created a script, and I meant to show that on the previous call, but you can see this is an inbound call with a credit card is what they chose in the IVR, and because of that, it has actually started a auto glance session. And you can see that Marshall is a platinum customer down here. So any platinum customer that called to create a credit card, it would auto start a glance session. We can also do things like using profiles of customers. So if a customer wanted to have a collaboration each time they spoke, and we have customers that actually do that with our platform, anytime they call into one of our customers, they actually will request a glance session because they know that it creates a more expedient and accurate interaction with that customer. But literally, you can just say accept and start the session, and away we go doing the collaboration. So we'll go ahead and close that out and set the disposition. Now, one of the most important things too is then on reporting. And you can actually incorporate some of the data elements, and we've created 2 different reports within Five9 showing some of the glance. And so here are different interactions and showing if this was an actual auto start or not, and tagging those and who was involved in those when a collaboration session was started. And again, we can do those for both voice phone calls and for chat sessions. And you can actually export all of that data out. For example, here is an export out of the Five9s of the voice interactions. And through the integration that we've created, we're actually storing the Five9 session ID for those voice calls in the glance CRR, that's customer record retriever. And so that's the contact detail records of the glance session. So you can see that external ID and how it's matched up to the session ID. And then looking at the timestamps and even all of the features that were invoked. In this section, there were actually 2 different co-browse sessions started as part of the collaboration session, and even who started it and at what date and time, if remote assist, if video was started, document sharing, all of that detail is here. So you can really start looking at business level output and understanding the cause and effects of things. Here we've taken some of that type of infrastructure a step further, and we've extracted out some details from the CCAS. We have extracted out the details out of Glance, and we've extracted some details out of the CRM system, and then used those details to actually tie all of those elements together And now by tying that together, you can really get cause and effect. For example, we can start doing things like calculating what is the percentage of this interaction that occurred before they actually started a glance session, and what was the duration of that glance session. So you can really look at some of those details. It also allows you to tie these elements together, so I can do things like create reports, and these are all sample reports that we created in a Microsoft Access, just to give you a feel for what could be done. But this would all be in your BI tool. But you end up with scenarios where I can now see chats and voice. I can see with and without glance sessions. I can look at the percentages of those. What was the percentage with and without glance? And I can look at extrapolate things like the average value of interactions with and without glance, or the average duration of the phone calls or chats with and without glance, and then even see that holistically and voice phone calls. So I can very much get a feel for cause and effect on these things. I can also do the same thing with chat sessions. So I can actually look at chat sessions, and as we move through these chat sessions, look at the glance sessions that were tied to these chat sessions that we started. You can also wrap back into things like from your workforce optimization platform, things like the CSAT scores. And now you can pull together business impact reporting. For example, what was the customer satisfaction rating with and without glance that were excellent, good, fair, or poor, and the business outcomes that were derived from those. Okay, so that is a quick demonstration of some of our Five9 integration and some of the capabilities that can bring to bear. With that, I will stop the demo and then turn it back over to Heather so that she can ask any questions and wrap up the meeting.
Yeah, Talia, do we have any questions that have come in?
Yeah, it looks like we have one. Are you able to demo screen share with a customer who is on mobile? Also, is co-browse possible when the customer is on mobile?
Co-browse is no issue at all on mobile. Screen share, you can screen share from the associate's desktop to the mobile, but you cannot screen share the customer's mobile device. You can basically, the mobile app share is a screen share, but any other applications, and it's a security limitation of the mobile device. So iOS and Android both block that. So you can't screen share another application on that mobile device, but we absolutely can screen share something on the desktop back to the customer's mobile phone. Is that helpful? You can also do a co-browse from the mobile browser, or from the mobile application rather, but that content needs to be within the mobile application, because the mobile phone will see, let's say, Chrome or any other browser as a separate application and won't let you share that in session. But if you put that web content inside the mobile application, not a problem. We have done that with many, many customers, and that works perfectly fine. And you can do, if they start it from the mobile browser, you can absolutely co-browse and do all of that content in session. That is not a problem either.
There are paths to get there.
Absolutely. We are experienced in creating those paths of success.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the questions. And thanks, Chris and Heather. So I think that's it. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Have a fantastic day.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye-bye.